Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third episode of our Avatar Rewatch. Joining me again is the very, very interesting. Hello, buddy.
Hello, how are you? I am Jared from Comics League, the Lord of Comics.
So this week we're doing the third episode of Avatar, and I would like to say this is kind of the episode where crap gets real. This is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
where, remember, I know you made a lot of comments about how the show was actually very cartoonish, and I said it
Mhm.
gets darker. Well, it
It,
got
it,
darker.
it, it got darker immediately. I love that.
So before we kind of go like a play-by-play of the episode, what were your overall thoughts on it?
Well, I found it. I thought it was hilarious how Aang basically wakes up Sokka saying, "There's a snake in your sleeping bag," and then he just starts jumping around. I love that. I like how this show, I like the way that this episode did a lot of world building in terms of introducing, okay, so the Avatar is reincarnation. You see all the different things of avatars. They introduced the reincarnation cycle that you mentioned last week. Basically, this was a big world building episode, but it did it in such a way that it didn't feel like overwhelming, because that's something that when you have an IP that has such deep lore, that's a danger with a lot of world building.
Yeah. So, like Jared said, the episode kind of starts out with them going towards the airbending, and then you have Kana Katara be like, "Hey, Aang, we should talk a little moment," and then she kind of backs down at the end, where so it's very clear that Katara knows what's waiting for them. I thought that was actually really good use of foreshadowing.
It was.
That was and then so they kind of head toward, and then they cut towards Zuko, which this is kind of something that you don't really see a lot of shows do, where the villain is getting just as much screen time as the hero. So what do you kind of think of Zuko's section of this episode?
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for him because because you see about how militaristic and very failure is not an option type of culture the Fire Nation has. And honestly, you immediately here's the good thing about the first thing I thought of seeing the Zuko parts of this episode. Okay, I now understand his motivation instantly, because you see he has all these expectations put on him, and he probably thinks, okay, if I bring the Avatar, I can prove myself to my nation if I bring in this being, and I bring this being to, air quotes, justice. But my point is that you instantly understand his motivation. That is fantastic storytelling.
Plus, they give you just enough information to kind of give you the gist of what he's doing, but they also lay a lot of hints. Like they say, "Oh, you want another scar to go with that? How did you get banished?" They kind of hint at why he gets banished, but they don't go into it. I mean, they do reveal it later. They go fully into that, but they give you enough to kind of okay, that was kind of a satisfying meal, but they leave just enough being like, "Oh, I want more,"
And that fire duel thing was super dope. How it's not fast or anything like that. It's very slow, calm, and methodical, at least from his opponent's perspective. And that's why the opponent won, because if you notice, Zuko was I took it as impulsive.
Zuko actually won that duel.
Okay, well, he seemed to me a little bit impulsive, and a little bit not as tactically thinking as the other dude.
Well, basically, to kind of give you a little bit of world explanation. So what they instigated is what's called Agni Kai, and the first person to get burnt is the winner. That's the whole point of an Agni Kai. It's a way for Fire Nation people to settle disputes and whatnot. And if you notice, there was kind of that point where Zuko was over him, and Zhao was like, "Do it, do it," and he just shot the fireball to his head. That was Zuko kind of showing mercy, at that point Zuko had won, and that's why when Zhao went to attack him, Iroh, being the bad buddy is, just kind of shame on you, Zuko's victory.
I love Iroh. Yeah. I love Iroh. That dude's hilarious. I'm loving him so much.
He's just gonna keep getting better, trust me.
Love it. That's the thing. There's really no weak characters so far. I'm like, oh wow, I love all these people.
What do you think of Emperor Zhao? I mean, Captain Zhao. Sorry.
You mean his opponent? I thought he was. I thought it was pretty interesting because the show, first off, he's worse than Zuko, and what that means is that when you look at Zuko, when you first introduce him, I mean, when you first meet him in episode 1, he seems to be very ruthless and very like, I will kill you to get what I want, which he is to a degree. Then you meet Zhao, right? Then you meet
Zhao.
Zhao, and I call him like Zuko on steroids because he's so much more. He's so much more like, oh, I will burn you, a hole.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again, I love that because again, it shows his motivation. All these expectations are put upon Zuko because he's dealing with all these guys for all day.
Also, like I really like this episode because it really kind of also kind of crystallizes why like Iroh in a sense, because like even Zhao gives him respect, like and like also you see Iroh's skill, like his skill as like a bender and whatnot. So it's like we're starting to hit. It's like okay, he actually kind of lives up to the legend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, and so we're kind of going forward. They get to the air temple. Katara, it's like he's kind of trying to tell him, but she can't bring herself to do it, which is totally understandable. And then Sokka's like, "Food." What did you think about like the baby seal scene where it's like, "Oh, I thought it was kindling."
I love that. I love how they both chase after that lemur, and then it's like, Sokka's like, "Food!" He just runs right after it. I love that.
What did you think of the flashback with Aang and Gyatso?
That was very like endearing. Me at first, I thought, okay, so what's going on, and then it clicked that it was a flashback. So I'm watching this, and it also first off, I like they're showing hints of Aang's past. They're not straight up showing you the whole thing, and that's the way to do it because for like 2 episodes, what happened to Aang's past before he went into the ice has been a mystery. So they're starting to sprinkle it in, and I love when shows do that.
So yeah, and then we're kind of gonna fast forward kind of things a little bit. So it's like some things happen, and Aang ends up he finds the thing where things get end. What did you think about finding the remains of Gyatso with all those Fire Nation soldiers?
That was immediately like, oh, that's when it clicked to me. Oh, this just went from kitty to, oh my gosh.
They're showing actual genocide on a kids Nickelodeon show.
On a Nickelodeon, exactly. I was about to say, I was like,
remember, this was aired in the late 2000s on Nickelodeon for kids.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, wow. Well, it was a nice change of pace because if you look at the show, it looked very like. Well, let me think about this. Oh yeah, when you see the show, it starts off very kiddie and then immediately genocide. I'm like, it's cool. It could do both. I like when it does both.
And that's kind of the reason why I feel like Avatar has kind of had its staying power throughout the years because it's kind of got those that kind of mixture of things. And then we got like the mega Avatar state, like he really awakening. Also, it's showing it different Avatar temples. It's like, holy crap, the Avatar's back. So now the whole world the Avatar's back. So that's kind of a signal you got there.
By the way, I just had a thought, by the way. If they make another Avatar movie, don't you think that would be cool if Zack Snyder directed it? If he stuck to the lore?
Visually, it would look pretty good, but I don't know if he has. I don't know if his tastes really align with Avatar.
Okay, that works.
As long as M. Night Shyamalan stays the heck away from it, I'll be happy.
Yes, he's the reason why it took me so long to get to the series.
Yeah, and then we got hey, he said it. He's where Aang says, "I really am the last Avatar."
Yeah, I love that. That's so meta.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, and that's kind of roughly where the episode ends, and kind of going forward. What are your overall thoughts? Like, do you have any predictions on how things will go or whatnot?
Well, I think it's about to get a lot darker, the show. I'm sure about that one. And again, I like seeing all the different all the differences among the different tribes, because it would be very easy for them to just say, okay, so the Fire Nation and the Water Nation are like the same thing, except they bend a different element. No, the Fire Nation, in keeping with the element, are very warlike and hostile. The Water Nation are very peaceful nomads. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I like that.
Also, each nation is based off of different real world culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Water Tribe are based off of the Inuit, of like Alaska and whatnot. The what we might know as Eskimo, but I think that's kind of an outdated term, so I'm not going to use it. The Fire Nation is kind of based off of Imperial Japan.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Nation is based off of like Buddhist teachings, like they're basically Buddhist monks. And then the Earth Kingdom, which I think we might see in the next episode, we might kind of see some Earth Kingdom stuff. They're based off of China, like kind of roughly like China and whatnot. And then also the really cool thing is each bending is actually based off a different martial arts discipline. Like if you look at water bending, it's Tai Chi. I can't remember what the other ones are, but I know they're all kind of based off of it,
Well, that's true, because when you see the movements that each like bender uses for the different elements, it looks very unique. And since instead of everything being like this for all the ones, it's more like you can believe that it's a different skill set that you have to learn.
Yeah, it's like different movements, different muscle memory. Like that's why it's so hard for the Avatar to master all the elements, because he literally has to master all these different disciplines. Like doing something like this might do one thing in earth bending, but it might do something totally different in fire bending. Like the same motion does two different things. Like, I just launched a rocket myself, kind of thing.
Yeah. I love that. Again, watching this, this is about the third time where I'm like, why haven't I been watching this show? Now I get why everyone's telling me, Jared, particularly when I got into comic books and superheroes, like, Jared, you have to watch the show.
Oh, trust me, I know exactly. Once you're done with the show, you're going to be digging straight into the comics.
Can we do a video? By the way, I had this idea where after we could complete season 1, we watch the movie and then rant about it. We'll even do a stream about it on my channel. Sure.
I might not be able to do that stream sober, so I might have to,
because I want to do a stream series either on your channel or mine, where we just watch bad movies and just rant about them.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
So let's just kind of wrap things up here. So still good, still awesome. It's going good.
Great.
I am so glad we're doing this series. I am.
Me
so
too.
glad.
Me too. I'm like, why haven't we been doing this?
So this is Nick Gibson from the Phoenix Press, and remember,
Jared from
I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it.